My name is Jamie Imhoff, and I'm a Level 1 sommelier. Wine culture is intertwined with our history so much. Wine has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. Dating back to the medieval times, wine was the only accessible, safe liquid to drink, not even water. Water carried several diseases. Water was the spread of diseases. Little interesting fact is if you bring any source of liquid to 14% alcohol, which is wine, it is completely free of bacteria. Due to the fact that wine has been around for so long, there is such an extensive culture. So if you're a novice drinker and you walk into any wine store, you don't even know where to begin. There's so many different bottles, there's so many different grapes, and unfortunately, up until about 20 years ago, there wasn't very many people to help you, to guide you, to have you start with some type of grape or some wine and to help move you up in the right direction. There is a big movement to bring wine back down to the masses. Unfortunately, when you do, for example, meet master sommeliers and masters of wine, half the people you meet will be very accommodating and teach you, and half the people, if you haven't drunk a certain type of wine or know a certain producer, they may write you off. Also, what scares people away is the cost. So they tend to gravitate to things within their price range depending on the income that they make, not realizing that maybe something $5 more will be something they love, but they're afraid to try it. The wine industry has done incredible strides only within the last 20 years and 30 years to making wine more accessible to the public. You have wines coming from Argentina to America to even France into Africa, South Africa as well. So that makes more affordable wines that people can drink. Also, you have so many different grapes that are being played with more exclusively. We're breaking away from a lot of the traditional blending, traditional techniques, experimenting on new things, and also bringing it closer to home. When you taste wine, whether you're a novice or a beginner, you should look for the same aspects. The first one, and it's usually the easiest one to tell other than aromatic compounds, is the body of the wine. And the body is simply how much alcohol the wine has. Wine ranges from anywhere to 6% up to a maximum of 15.5. And that range of 10% is very different. So as you go up in the spectrum of alcohol in the wine, it feels heavier. The weight actually weighs down your tongue, and that's how you can tell. Another really easy one to analyze in wine is the sugar level. Some wines are sweet, some wines are dry. Another thing you'd like to look for in wine is the acidity level. Is this wine very gentle and mild? Is it very smooth and mellow? That would be low acidity. The higher acidity wines are very tangy and tart. The other element I mentioned was aromatics. Your nose smells over 10,000 different flavors. So when you pick up aromatics, that's what you smell. So that's why the most important thing to do when you first try wine is to swirl it around and smell it. The last thing when you try wine is, this is the hardest category to understand. It's something called tannins. Tannins are phenolphthalein compounds found in the skin of grapes, primarily red grapes. You rarely encounter them in white, so they dry out your mouth. So when somebody says they like dry red wines, it's because they're very high in tannins. The best way to become more educated and knowledgeable about wine is simply just to do blind tastings. Go to your local wine store, find a reputable one, and start figuring out what you like to try and what you would like to enjoy.